Welcome, fellow explorers, traders, pirates, and aimless wanderers. On this channel, I discuss the factions that design, engineer, and build the worlds we explore in our games, movies, and stories. If you're interested in seeing more of that, hit subscribe. Today, I'm going to tell you about a story I know pretty well. Today, we're going to talk about the story of the Anomaly, and about the choices we make as we journey through the universe. As a warning, this video does contain spoilers for the story of No Man's Sky. Alright, let's get into it. When we first enter the universe of No Man's Sky, we find ourselves on a strange planet. Smoke rising from our crashed ship. Warnings blare in our suit and shake us into consciousness. We have no memory of what came before, but we hear a voice guiding us. We learn about the world around us and about how we can use what we find to repair our equipment and begin our journey of exploration, trade, and crafting. As we interact with the world around us, we'll be offered directives and choices, and by following whatever path we choose, we'll learn much about the universe we now inhabit. Long before we find our way here, long before we and those we share the universe with existed, at least as they do now, things were occurring in a distant universe that would shape the one we must now traverse. Those of us who were there remember. We remember Waking Titan, the Atlas Corporation, the dreams, the visions, and the cryptic puzzles left like breadcrumbs for us to follow. 1,000 journeys began that day, the day we were introduced to the simulation and to the designs of the minds behind the Atlas. Across the world, clues were found, messages decoded, and information shared. The Titan had begun to wake, and in time, this process gave birth to the universe we travelers now inhabit. Realities had collided, past and future crossed paths at a crucial moment, and us, well, we're thrust in between. Not just another being wandering the world, something else, an anomaly. The relationship between the Atlas and the Anomaly, or anomalies, shapes the very fabric of the universe forever, changing galaxies, birthing new stars, and causing older ones to blink out of existence. So what is it? And more importantly, what are we? That's a fundamental question asked by most sentient beings. Another might be, what's my purpose? Or what's the meaning of life? These things are, without a doubt, the beginnings of some of our biggest ideas, some of our most profound thoughts, even if we never really get an answer. In fact, there may not be an answer to these questions at all. That's never stopped us from looking, and in doing so, we've found new questions and new mysteries. Look back then from our first tentative steps in the universe of No Man's Sky, through the mists of time and through the veil of what we think is real. There you'll find us right now, listening to this very video, some of us anyway. It was, as of this recording, less than a decade ago that Project Waking Titan began, and clues to its mysteries were sent out to be decoded. Tapes were received, websites published, puzzles were solved, and secrets were revealed. Meetings happened where agents of the mysterious Atlas Foundation handed memos and information drops to those who were invited to attend. As the story behind these mysteries slowly unraveled, the story of a series of research projects and other experiments came to light. The Atlas Foundation was a secretive organization studying consciousness, AI, dreaming, and, most importantly, simulated worlds. Subjects were connected to machines, and their dreams and thoughts were studied, how they interacted, and ultimately, how their memories became corrupted. All of this research led, inexorably, to the creation of the Atlas, an immensely powerful computer designed to simulate realities. It was always intended that these should be done in order to further study. Whether someone remains to do so outside of the simulations themselves remains a mystery. What we do know is that these events occurred millennia ago, and now, here we stand in a world newly created. A simulation so perfect, we can't even tell whether it's real or if we're real. The Atlas has lived on, and it seems to feel that it has been abandoned by its creator. This may be the case. It has not, though, abandoned its own creation. The Atlas manifests itself within these simulated worlds in the form of the Atlas interfaces. It is through these interfaces that we can speak with the intelligence and gain answers to some of our own questions. If we follow the path that it lays out for us, we'll end up being given a number of choices. Branching paths that can change our fate and the fate of the universe. Why us? Well, as it happens, we didn't end up here by chance. It turns out that we were sent here. But by who? Well, by the Atlas, as it turns out. The experiment that gave birth to the Atlas, not content to study living subjects, the consciousness of several of these people were uploaded into the Atlas computer, including that of its own creator. When the Atlas realized that it had been abandoned, it projected copies of its creator's consciousness into the simulation, in an attempt to find answers. We are the manifestation of one of these copies, which answers our first question, but now it seems that we have many more before us. As I said, we're not the only copy of this type. Many others exist and can be interacted with. We learn from some of them that this is not meant to be the case, and in fact, that there should only be one traveler, one upload, per iteration of the simulated reality, and that they can react to one another means that the walls between realities are breaking down. This hints at a wider truth about the universe and about the Atlas, that its power wanes. More on that later. We will come to learn that we are in fact the last traveler created in this way, the last of the copies of the Creator's mind. This revelation comes after long journeys and much searching, meeting new friends and making new enemies. During our time in the simulation, we'll come to meet others like us, two of whom are the travelers Artemis and Apollo. These beings will help to guide us along some of the paths we must take to eventually reach our goal. While they and the other travelers are like us, they're also different. The scan of the mind from which we all were created was not as it should have been. The data had been corrupted. Did this have something to do with the abandonment of the Atlas by its creators? Maybe these two entities can help us to answer some of our questions. We'll meet Artemis, who, as I've mentioned, is a traveler like us, and like us, they find themselves in some distress. We first learn of them when we come across the wreck of their crashed ship. Once we interact with the distress beacon nearby, we'll obtain some information about them. Once we next take off into space, we'll receive a signal from this being asking for our help. We'll travel through the galaxy, locating points of interest and contacting them after completing several missions. We'll learn some distressing information from them during this time. It seems that the Atlas is dying. Not only that, but it's been dying for some time. We'll encounter another traveler known to us as Apollo. Apollo is apparently a friend of Artemis. While Apollo was once like us, much of their body's been replaced with cybernetics, and they seem to have an unhealthy obsession with monetary gain. It's Artemis who gives us the information we need to contact Apollo using the Hollow Terminus network. Apollo will give us several tasks and help us to prepare for some of the trials before us. They are distressed to learn of their friend Artemis's plight. We also learn more from them about the end of the Atlas. Another important traveler we can meet is one whose name we don't know. Our systems have assigned them the designation Null. They know much about Artemis and Apollo, though their tale is a sad one. They defied the Atlas and went on to live eternally, exploring the entirety of their iteration, before it was revealed to them that they're not the first, and will not be the last. They are bitter about this, but they show us how we can save the existence of Artemis. Together, we and the other travelers are experiencing the death of Atlas and the destruction of the universe. Our choices from here forward will shape the fate of the galaxy. So how is our presence and its impact to be felt across the stars? What can we do to ensure that the galaxy our choices shape will be best for everyone? Is it even possible to do so? We have to take the paths offered to us and see. We have two primary paths that we can take. The Atlas, our creator, offers us one, and the being known as Artemis another. These are the Atlas and Artemis paths, respectively. Both of these paths are open to us, and we can complete both. Each has a unique ending that will decide the fate of the Atlas and of the universe in some way. Beginning with the Atlas path, our first step is to find an Atlas station, either by asking Polo to help us locate one, or discovering one by accident in a system we warp into. The Atlas will give us a new blueprint, and task us with crafting it. More than that, it'll assist us in finding another station, where we'll receive another blueprint. This will continue until we have acquired the blueprints for 10 separate and different Atlas seeds, each of which requires us to have achieved certain milestones, and to learn new technology and explore new systems for resources. Once all 10 seeds are crafted, you're given the choice to birth a new star or to return to the galaxy normally, having not done so. Once the mission's complete, you'll receive a new technology and be given the ability to detect black holes on the galaxy map without aid of any kind, a very useful skill. Our first steps on the Artemis path will take us from waking up in our downed ship to repairing our gear and ship and flying into space to locate a distant location indicated by the other traveler. Through these missions, we learn that Artemis, with whom we've been communicating, is, in a way, dead. It's the entity Null who gives us hope that we can save them from permanent death. We have to capture their essence in a device we have to craft and decide whether to let them continue on in a new simulation or to end it and let them rest. We learn as well of the death of the Atlas and the universe and must use the holo terminals to warn the other travelers of the coming calamity. We then have to reach the center of the galaxy, and when we do, we're given a choice. And this is the choice that will reshape everything. We can choose to reset the simulation, selecting a new type of galaxy that we'll be transported to begin a new journey, to explore this new galaxy at our whim. We can also choose to refuse the Atlas and leave things as they are. If we do so, we'll remain in the current galaxy, and the Atlas will be upset with our decision. So now what? We either have access to a new place full of adventure, or are in the old version, with time stretching before us until the end of the Atlas and the universe. Well, we build, we craft, we make this place our home, and create a home for those who join us. In your travels, you'll have had to learn many new things to craft, from ship engines to technology modules for your suit to new weapon systems to fight your enemies. Whatever universe you now find yourself in, It is, as the log describes, yours to explore. We will have discovered the space anomaly where Nada and Polo live, a hub of activity where other travelers like ourselves can be found. This place is full of iterations with whom we can interact and trade. We can help other travelers in their missions and use the public portal to visit their homes. Of course, we may work with the Atlas to birth a new universe, but the Atlas is not done with us. A red glow lurks in the corner of our vision. The Atlas calls to us. We may choose to seek out Atlas interface stations and present them with wonders we've discovered along our journey through its infinite creations. We can choose simply to travel endlessly through this creation, hoping that if we defy the Atlas, we don't end up like Null, mournful and angry. If you choose to make your way to the center of the new galaxy, you'll likely want to use black holes to get there. Since you can see them on your map by the end of the mission, this will be much easier. They will take you somewhere to another part of the galaxy, though always somewhat closer to the core than you were before, though you may end up on the opposite side than you were when you started. Regardless, they offer the second fastest way to reach the core, if that's your goal. There is a faster way, but it requires skill, knowledge, wisdom, and patience. You will, by this stage in your journey, have spoken to several travelers if you began the Artemis path. If not, you'll find other travelers in space stations or planet-side outposts of one type or another. They'll tell you many things. Some will reward you for insightful or favorable answers to their questions. However, you may find it advantageous to ask them a question. You can choose to ask where they're from, and when you do, they'll provide you with a set of coordinates to a grave. The place to which they direct you is the grave of a traveler, one passed from this iteration, though their memory lives on in some way at this marker. Interacting with it will transmit a message from the traveler, and with it, you'll be given a symbol which at this time might mean little to you. There are 16 of these symbols, and by visiting 16 such graves, you can obtain all of them. They are called glyphs. If you've completed the Artemis path, then you'll have learned all 16 glyphs through your interactions with Artemis and the other travelers. These symbols will allow you to tap into the network of portals found in nearly every system, which, if you have the knowledge of addresses, can take you anywhere you need to go. Portals are ancient structures. They can be seen on planets across the various galaxies, and when one approaches, they glow and a terminal begins to move. To find one, a traveler needs to present an offering of an item of cultural significance to the species that controls the system to a monolith, which will give the coordinates in exchange. Portals are massive stone structures split down the middle and with a circle of intricate symbols in the middle. A small dais stands nearby, and this is the control wheel. Activating this for the first time brings up a selection of symbols, each matching the glyphs found on your journey. You'll have to recharge each glyph on the portal wheel with a specific resource, and once you do, you can use them. By selecting 12 glyphs in a specific order, you'll input the address for another portal somewhere else in the universe. There are 16 glyphs in total, and each address takes only 12. The sets of characters correspond to position coordinates for the location desired. Once you have your address input, the portal will activate and you can step through. You'll find yourself stepping through another portal activated by the one you just left. You can step back through this portal when you're ready to return. This system can take you anywhere in the galaxy instantaneously, including the center if you know the correct address to get there. This is the fastest way to reach the center. There are other places you can go though, and many addresses have been charted. In fact, travelers from across the universe have begun to come together and form their own factions with headquarters that you can visit. Since the beginning of the simulation, travelers have been excited to connect with one another, to come together and chart the universe. Among the first of these were the peaceful federations of explorers who developed charting and naming conventions for every part of the galaxy, from the volumes of space systems to individual planets. There were, and are, several of these organizations active even now. The oldest, and possibly the largest of these, is the Galactic Hub Project. The Galactic Hub Project was based first in the Euclid Galaxy, where all travelers begin their journey. They've branched into other galaxies as well. You can find the portal addresses to their headquarters on the website, link in the description. They're a peaceful organization dedicated to mapping the universe, finding and documenting planets, systems, ships, and other sites. They're known to host events as well, from trade and economic events, combat events, to competitions for base building and in-game photography. There are, of course, less benevolent organizations, rings of pirates and raiders, for instance, who patrol systems within their territory and shoot down the unwary. It would be wise, when traveling the more populated areas of the galaxy, to be aware of who might be operating in that space, lest you run afoul of their guns. There are areas of space in which conflict is constant between factions, travelers having set up borders and territory. Space is patrolled, and travel in these regions is tightly controlled. Unless you're ready to fight, stay clear of them, or seek permission to pass through a particular faction's territory. Guilds and colonies have sprung up as well, allowing travelers to visit, pass through, or join in one way or another. These are all ways that travelers have come together to shape the universe, and using the ancient portal network and some knowledge of one address can get you there. But they aren't the only means of instantaneous travel we have. As we learn to build, we'll gain the ability to craft portals of our own. These devices can be placed on bases and freighters and allow us to travel great distances to known locations, including space stations, which we've previously visited, or our own bases and outposts. You don't need to input an address. The portal can link with others attached to the network, and so we can get pretty much anywhere this way if we've been to the target location. Our third portal option is the one located aboard the Anomaly. This portal looks much like one we might create ourselves, only larger. This is the interstellar terminus, and through it we can reach all kinds of new places. Travelers who have built impressive structures can have their homes featured on this portal list, and we can go and visit them. We travelers and anomalies are builders and crafters, yes, but what we contribute to the shape and form of the galaxy goes beyond that. Our decisions in interacting with the Atlas and the denizens of the simulation create new stars and universes and change the simulation forever. When we band together, our organizations create new opportunities for exploration, building, and war across the universe. We've built empires across the stars, founding cities and settlements in every type of environment on every type of planet one can find, and those are many. Our ingenuity has made the universe of the simulation home, and by our actions and explorations, changed everything. So if you're part of this world, go out and explore it for yourself. Find new places and build new things. Learn how to travel and find places to build or join communities. Help us travelers to create a universe of wonders. Well, that's the story of the Anomaly. Or an anomaly. It really depends on the choices you make. I want to thank you all for watching. I appreciate everyone who does, especially if you stick around to the end. If you like the video, please hit like. And if you don't want the Atlas to be sad, hit subscribe. If you want to discuss the topic or think I missed anything, let me know in the comments down below. Oh, and before you go, I want to shout out to my patrons who help support the channel. Our $10 patron is Washuki at the Artisan level. If you want to get your name in the credits, head on over and sign up. The Patreon link is in the description. You'll get access to an exclusive Discord and some exclusive art and stories that you can use or discuss and contribute to. And remember, try and be the anomaly that the weird prophecy says you are. Not that you have a choice. Alright. Thanks everyone. Bye Internet.